Bam! Yes! Wow, I don't even know where to start, guys. I'm just beginning to go down that rabbit's hole. The more I research, the more I speak with everyone, the more I learn. So I'm just flabbergasted, seriously. So I'm going to do a series of videos right now, but one of the first things I want to talk about is just a simple concept, but it's deep, yo. It's a lot deeper than you guys realize. So of course, I've been really into organic acid testing lately, which drives me to learn more about the human body because the results are having to do with, you can take urine, stool, saliva, you can figure out if you've got gene mutations, if you're not absorbing certain things, if you have a gut infection. All of this stuff seems really unsexy, you guys, but let me tell you, when you get that stuff straightened out, bam, you can manipulate your DNA, your epigenetics to do whatever you want it to do. That's why it's so amazing to learn about the organic acid testing. All right, I want to talk to you guys about meal timing. I've done videos about this before, but this is really hitting me hard now. So basically, I keep getting people who've got hypoglycemia, but they don't even know it, right? I keep getting these strange cases of people who've got good glucometer numbers, but if they don't eat, most people, of course, when they do a ketogenic protocol and they up their fat, boom, the hunger goes, bye-bye. But in some cases, people are hungry in the middle of the night. People are, if they don't eat, they don't feel right. Now, most people are like trying to do the intermittent fasting and they're just trying to look for an excuse not to eat. Here's the thing. When I've talked about not doing intermittent fasting in the past, a lot of you guys are like, but our ancestors, they fasted all the time, which is incredibly true. But if you listen real hard, guys, there's sirens outside. And that is the modern man. And they didn't have those sirens. And they didn't have the chaos. I just came inside from chaos. Listen to that. That's a stress response. There's an emergency somewhere. So they didn't have the overstimulated adrenals, which is really the subject of today. It's about meal timing, but it's way, you guys, it's way motherfucking deeper than that. So check it out. I explain this a lot to people that our hunter-gatherer ancestors ate vegetation, which is the carbohydrate, cyclically, because plants grow in seasons. And so you couldn't just go to any jungle or forest on the planet and just grab something and stick it in your mouth, because plants develop a defense because they want to survive just like us humans. Any other mammal they want to survive like. So they develop plant chemicals. It's really interesting. The oxalates, the salicylates, the goitrogens, that stuff is absolutely fascinating. How it can rip up and tear up your body if your adrenals, if your gut is not in balance. It can just rip it up. So I'm just really excited on this new information. So when you guys get up in the morning and you've been fasting all night long, now in theory, as a hunter-gatherer, you should be able to fast with no problem. Boops! Unless you guys are gluconeogenic, which you most are. You skip meals, right? As Nora Gagaudis says, eating carbs is like trying to heat a house on paper. Where's some paper? Right? Well, this is a sticker, so it doesn't really work. But this paper, you put a piece of paper in, it's gonna burn real high, boom, and then it's gonna burn out. Then you gotta put another piece of paper in if you want to keep the fire going. And the fire is symbolic of your metabolism. And paper, my friends, is the fuel. Every time you guys eat something as carb burners, and you, which we all grew up as carb burners, let's just keep it real. Unless you're an Inuit tribe from way back in the day. Yes. And you guys, when you didn't eat food in this very overstimulated reality, you're gonna crash. And then you're gonna need glucagon from your pancreas, IGF-1, gluconeogenesis to raise your blood sugar back up. But see, the pancreas doesn't like to be put through that all day long. Up, down, up, down. I've explained this many, many times. Body doesn't like to go up and down and up and down and up and down. So what happens? The pancreas becomes worn out, becomes insufficient. Not only do you have issues with your glucagon, but you also have issues with your insulin. Insulin is the problem, guys. Insulin is the problem. The insulin insufficiency, that it's not doing its job. So a lot of you guys have insulin resistance and you don't even know it. If you're cranky, if you're annoyed, if you're not eating, if you're hormonal, if you're PMSing, it could be that you're not getting enough energy into the cells. Trying to get your body to run off of gluconeogenesis is the worst form of gasoline. It's short term. It's not meant to grind all day long, fasted. The problem is your insulin. The problem is your cortisol. The adrenal glands have to take over when you're not eating every couple of hours. I know. Who wants to sit and feed paper into the fireplace all day long? But when you're not eating every couple of hours, as soon as the fire burns out, you create metabolic damage to your pancreas, to your adrenals, to your thyroid. No joke. Now, I've mentioned this stuff before, but you guys, it's puzzle piecing it together to this big picture. And it finally makes sense, right? Why, as we get older. So for me, it's very interesting. As you get older, you can still manipulate your DNA to be a viable young person. Maybe you shouldn't act your age. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you have metabolic damage and it's slowing you down. And you have to go against that thought, that exhaustion, that tired, that, you know, what I spoke to somebody the day in the gym who's quite young is like, I nap all the time. You know, he was like eating late, going out a lot. And he's like, napping's great. Napping's fantabulous. Yes, if you're in the wild. Because they were about the energy conservation. But we nap because we crash, because we have pancreatic issues, adrenal issues. And this is affecting our sex hormones. It's really, the pregnenolone still, the elevated levels of cortisol. It is, I mean, I don't even know where to start. There's so many videos I need to do and more research. So, you know, all these people with these tweaked out issues have a problem regulating their blood sugar, which whacks out their ability to have energy, which people develop chronic fatigue. Women develop PMS. Men, what the hell is going on? Your testosterone is low. Low, guys. Low, 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 low. So the meal timing is critical. I know I'm kind of going on a rant, but I'm just so like, wow. The meal timing is the connection to all those systems I just mentioned. Either you're going to eat the carbs or you're going to do keto. If you do keto, you better roll up them sleeves and get ready, because it is not easy. And you can go online, you can look at all this BS, all this trickery, right? This false advertising. Before, after. Before, after. What the hell is going on with people's estrogen dominance? Men too. Aromatase. Your testosterone's just crashing. But for women, we have the opposite. Our testosterone freaking spikes. And our estrogen spikes. And women are more infertile than ever before. Simply because they didn't eat the right foods at the right timing. That simple. That simple. So as a carb burner, you want things to move slowly through the bloodstream. If you have things go through the bloodstream, damage. We are designed to break down our foods. So smoothies, Toss them, throw them, poop on them, get rid of them, slap them. I don't care, but it is not helping you guys. And I walk on the streets and I look at everybody and they're inflamed and they're screwed up, they're tired. Your meal timing is critical as a carb burner. As a ketone person, you got energy all day long without being catabolic, without putting stress on the adrenal glands. So here we go. What would the timing look like if you were a carb burner? And then I'll say what the timing would look like if you are a keto beginner or if you're in ketosis. So as a carb burner, it's pretty simple. Low glycemic carbohydrates, like if you don't have any problem with root vegetables, but it would be like raw carrots, yellow squash, sweet potato, and like I said, oxalates, goitrogens, salicylates. Like we can't win for losing, yo. We got the phytates. Okay, so you start with the root vegetables. And you want it to go slowly through your body, so you might want to add in some animal fat. That's going to slow down digestion of fatty meat. So yes, as a low carb, high fat person who's still glucose dependent, you still want to have high fat. Yes. Our reproductive hormones need it so badly. Our brain, our cell lining, it's incredible why we still need fat, even as a carb burner. That is going to cool those adrenals down because you're going to be getting enough glucose partitioned throughout your day without no energy, and then pancreas having to overwork, and then the adrenals having to release cortisol to raise your blood glucose. Doing this all day long rapes your body. It just breaks it down to nothing. Now, as a keto person, the rules dramatically they're similar, and they dramatically change. Once you cross that bridge over to ketosis land, there ain't nothing better. As a keto person who starts, you must break the fast. Because if you don't break the fast, your adrenals that are losing their B complex, yes, you lose a lot of Bs when the adrenals overwork. When cortisol's too high, darn, I'm gonna have to do part 2. When cortisol is too high, we know that creates pregnenolone steal. We know that creates inflammation. And then the pancreas begins to overwork to get the gluconeogenesis glucose out of the bloodstream, get that glucose out of the bloodstream. It's got to overwork, and then it stops working so well. So you want to stuff the bloodstream with fat. We're trying to send signals to the brain that there is no famine, because when you cut out the carbs, the brain is addicted to glucose. When you cut out the carbs, it thinks it's starving, even though you ate 3,000 calories of fat, for example, to the extreme. Your brain still thinks it's starving, and it will respond as if it's starving. It'll crank down, you'll get constipated, it'll crank down, you could have hair shedding if you already have a pre-existing thyroid issue, you'll feel tired, you'll feel exhausted. That's stress on the body, and then you dump a lot of water, boom, electrolytes are just coming out of your urine. That's a stress response, guys. Big time. Not good. So you got to keep upping the fat to pacify the brain, but just make sure that your gallbladder and your stomach can digest, because if they can't digest the fat, it's another pile of stress on top of adrenal, on top of thyroid, on top of PCOS, and dropping your testosterone for the men. Okay, guys, I'm going to do a part 2 because, I just came home. I'm really excited. I just came from outside, so I really just want to do a video on the meal timing, and I'll get to that in the next video. But you have to eat. Even as a beginning carb person, you still have to eat fats throughout the day as if it's a carbohydrate, because that's what the brain is used to. And it's got little sensory in the blood, the medulla, that can tell if there is whatever is going on in the bloodstream. So if you guys want to learn more, go to Periscope. I'm going to do part 2 on how to do your meal timing. If you guys want to talk to me live on Periscope, download the app. My name is Steph the Business. When you do the Google search, you can book consultations at stephanieperson.com. I've got some seminars coming up, which I'm really excited about. You can find me on Facebook, which is Stephanie the Business Person, or Stephanie Ketogenic on my Instagram. Okay, guys, part 2 is coming up. let's organize our ketogenic day.